Andrew Tate is desperate for Donald Trump to help him out of this situation. Donald Trump or Marco Rubio, he'll take anything at this point. Anybody that can stop him getting extradited would be just a Hail Mary for Andrew Tate. But unfortunately for him, he might actually be in such a screwed up position that he has become completely radioactive, and anybody in the Trump administration that's even got any kind of connection to him is now in big trouble. And ironically, it seems like we might actually be seeing Donald Trump's son, Barron Trump, being dragged into this situation, and it is highly likely that the Trumps are pretty willing to throw Tate under the bus to ensure that their hands are clean. Now, no disrespect to Barron Trump, but this is going around. I don't know how true this is, right? But they're saying that a lot of questions are being asked. Some people are saying that maybe he's going to get asked to testify in Congress over his alleged links to Andrew and Tristan Tate. All of this apparently because Justin Waller bragged to the New York Times about the Tate's connection to Barron. So the reason that Trump is connected to Andrew Tate is incredibly embarrassing, and he's definitely not going to want to be connected to him anymore. But this is going around, okay? This was the secondary reporting on Barron Trump. He apparently got dating advice from Justin Waller, who put him on calls with Andrew Tate and became friends with him. So apparently Barron Trump, right, he's the son of the president. I wouldn't think he needs too much dating advice. He definitely doesn't need dating advice from Justin Waller and Andrew Tate. But basically, this all actually related to this New York Times article that basically kind of, talks about Andrew Tate, Justin Waller, the web of people around them, and even Barron Trump. This was incredibly embarrassing. So I'll tell you a little bit about this, and then I'll tell you about some of the backlash Barron Trump is now having for being associated with Andy Tate. All right, it is very, very bad. It is very, very embarrassing. And I'll give you a trigger warning. There's some pretty horrible stuff that we're going to be talking about in this article because I kind of had a little pre-read of some of it, and it is horrendous, some of what Andrew's been accused of. We don't condone it. I condemn Andrew Tate's actions. I'm going to give you a trigger warning. Some of the themes that we discuss may be very dark, to do with adult relationships, adult violence, adult situations, sexual violence, those kinds of themes. And I just want to give you guys a fair warning. How a Manosphere star accused of R-word and trafficking was freed. Barred from leaving Romania, Andrew Tate courted powerful figures on the American right, from Tucker Carlson to Barron Trump, and then an extraordinary order let him go. So this is going to be really embarrassing for Barron Trump and anyone else around the Trump family. They don't want anything to do with Andrew Tate. It says, days before Donald Trump's return to the White House, Tate got some good news. Mr. Tate and his brother Tristan, swaggering influencers in the so-called Manosphere, had been under a criminal investigation in Romania since 2022, accused of coercing women into adult video production. Andrew was also accused of the R-word and having relations with and beating a person 3 years under 18. The brothers, American and British citizens, were barred from leaving Romania while prosecutors built their case. Now, in a January 14th text message, Tate indicated that help was on the way. I had word from the Trump admin that they're on top of things. This isn't a good look for them. They're not going to be feeling this, all right? They're thinking you're radioactive. Mr. Tate wrote to someone close to him in a message reviewed by the New York Times. I've been told I'll be free soon, but Trump needs to see me in Miami. The next month, an extraordinary order came down from the highest levels of the Romanian government. A Times investigation found the prosecutors were told to find compromise within the Tates. Despite their misgivings, they lifted the travel restrictions, a move that Romania's prime minister thought would appease the Trump administration. We're massively back, a grinning Tate announced in a video recorded for his followers on February the 27th, as a private plane whisked the brothers to Florida. Insanity that this even happened. Their arrival in the US opened a rare rift among conservatives and raised suspicions over whether people in the White House had intervened. The Times found that support from Trump administration officials played a crucial role. Interviews with dozens of people in Romania, the US, and Britain, as well as a review of hundreds of pages of court documents and private messages, offer the fullest account yet of how the Tates rose from a fringe corner of the internet to become a cause célèbre on the right. The brothers' release from Romania was the culmination of a years-long effort by Andrew to forge alliances with Mr. Trump's advisors and family members. The Tates have helped propel a brazenly chauvinistic movement around the world, even as they racked up allegations of human trafficking, physical violence in multiple countries. They deny criminal wrongdoing, but Andrew, 39, and Tristan, 37, have boasted about recruiting women to make lucrative adult content and have sold courses teaching young men how to follow in their footsteps. It's all going to come back to bite him in the ass. Anyway, as his notoriety grew, Andrew Tate shrewdly courted Tucker Carlson and other media stars of the right, who in turn tapped into the brothers' loyal following to expand their own reach. Andrew also nurtured relationships with Donald Trump Jr. and his younger brother Barron, who recognized the role that young male voters could play in their father's return to power. This is really bad for Barron, all right? I got nothing against Barron. I've heard you hearing Aiden Russell, these guys say Barron's a cool guy. I don't know. He sounds like he's very lucky when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to picking them stocks. I don't know if any of that stuff going around Reddit is true, all right? But hey, listen, Barron, all right? If you tapped in, you know what I'm saying, let me know what stocks to buy. But it says Barron, now 19, admitted Andrew... Barron, now 19, admired Andrew. He's a bit old for Andrew, isn't he? Anyway, I'm joking. Barron, now 19, admired Andrew and spoke with him over Zoom last year, according to Justin Waller, a mutual friend who was on the call. During the call, they discussed their shared belief that the Romanian criminal case was an effort to silence the Tates, he said. After Mr. Trump's re-election, some of the Tate supporters ascended into the new administration. One of them, the diplomatic envoy Richard Grenell, twice discussed their case with Romanian officials, the Times found. Within days of the second conversation, the Romanian prosecutors received their marching orders and handed the Tates the freedom to travel. After long arguing, the brothers were a public danger and a flight risk. The prosecutors were outraged, according to people familiar with the matter, who requested anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss it. The brothers' liberation rattled many American diplomats who feared a shadowy new era of foreign relations, and it prompted hostility from many traditional conservatives, from Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis to the commentator Megyn Kelly, who said this is toxic masculinity. Some liken the Tates to convicted S-offender Jeffrey Epstein. Said their return also led to a new assault allegation from a girlfriend who said Andrew beat and strangled her shortly after his arrival in the United States. See, this is the thing. I said this in a previous video, but like when you don't hold people to account, they just keep on doing the same shit. Prosecutors declined to bring charges, but she's filed a lawsuit against him and has been granted a restraining order, and he's now suing her for defamation. In a statement to the Times, the Romanian prosecutor's office said that the country's constitution requires them to operate independently, and their actions in the Tates case have been legal. Marcel Ciolacu, who was the prime minister when the Tates were released, did not respond to requests for comment. I wonder how... I probably said that wrong, but my bad. An official of the White House said it has no knowledge of and is not involved in anything related to the Tates' legal matters. The official didn't respond to questions about Barron, and Donald Trump Jr. also didn't respond to a request for comment. The Tates' lawyer said the Times' findings about Andrew and Barron were fake news. Okay, listen, if they're calling it fake news, they're not wanting to claim this guy and help this guy out, are they? After more than 2 years of confinement, the brothers have used their newfound freedom to resume their jet-setting lifestyle and juice their brand. They visited Kanye West, partied poolside with beautiful women, and promoted their business to chanting fans. I'm in Dubai, I'm still rich, all I do is win. Andrew Tate said in a video posted in April that showed him driving off in a Bugatti. He won't be doing that for a long time. He's not winning now, is he? But the legal problems haven't gone away. The Romanian case is moving forward, and once it's finished, the brothers will face charges of human trafficking and R-word in England. And in the United States, the Times found anti-trafficking agents at the Department of Homeland Security have been investigating the Tates for years because apparently one of the victims was an American, and that is really bad. They don't like that. He made a big mistake, should have stuck to trafficking in Slovakia or Slovenia or wherever he was. Of course, I'm joking. We don't condone any trafficking in any country, right? We condemn Andrew Tate. Just want to make that clear so I don't get in trouble. Riding outrage to money and fame. He found fame as a modest kickboxer. We kind of heard all of this stuff, right? But Let's go through it for context. It says he was modestly famous as a professional kickboxer in the 2010s, but as he tell it, he didn't start making real money until he and his brother went into adult videos. In 2015, the Tates had installed women in apartments and hotel rooms in Britain to perform live on webcams for paying customers. Tate later described how the brothers romanced attractive women and coaxed them into the business and took most of their profits. It's not just about picking up girls, Mr. Tate said in an interview posted to YouTube. It's about converting them into really loving you enough to moving in with you and working for you and giving you all the money. Yeah, that's illegal. That's illegal, chum. All right. Both brothers had run-ins with the British police. Tristan was arrested in 2014 after a woman reported he assaulted her. The next year, Andrew was arrested 3 times, the police said. One woman who had worked for him said in court documents that he strangled her during stuff. Another said he R-word beat her and pulled a gun on her. In the UK is crazy. In the UK, pulling a gun on her is absolutely insane. I had never heard that one before. A third woman said he R-worded and strangled her while they were dating. Authorities didn't charge either brother, because it's the UK, they don't really care about that kind of thing usually, until you're the most famous man in the world. But Andrew said the scrutiny prompted him to leave Britain. He fled the country, right? Pretty plain and simple, he fled. right? He got the hell out of there. So don't really take a genius to work out what was going on there, right? It seems like he fled the country. He said, one day he recalled on a podcast years later, he woke up and said, I will not live under a government that will do this to me when I've done nothing wrong. Well, he and Tristan moved to Romania, a country they'd gotten to know through the professional fighting circuit. And there, Andrew said on another show, you can get away with shit you can't get away with in the West. Whoops. With Romania as their new, you know, Romania is technically, it's kind of it's low key in the West. It's more West than a lot of places. But with Romania as their new home, but Eastern Europe, sure. The brothers ran their webcam business from there and in Britain. And when Andrew was cast for the British reality show Big Brother in 2016, few knew about his business or the assault allegations. He was soon fired, however, when a tabloid obtained a video of him whipping a girlfriend with the belt. They both said it was consensual. She might have been a minor. The scandal boosted his fame, especially on social media, where he became a fierce supporter of Mr. Trump. Donald Trump Jr. liked one of his supportive Twitter posts, and they soon agreed to meet. Mr. Tate recalled on a podcast he went to Trump Tower in 2017. We still inbox each other every couple of days, Mr. Tate said on a podcast in 2018. The Trumps are like, they're not feeling this. They don't want to be associated. They want nothing to do with you. So by 2022, he and Tristan had gained millions of followers by preaching mental and physical discipline, entrepreneurship, and the subjugation of women. They'd expanded the porn business to TikTok, OF, and other platforms and were selling their courses to young men. One course offered was the PhD, Pimping Hoes degree, which is pimping's illegal. And over the previous 8 years, they earned at least £21 million, according to records from a British court that found they evaded taxes. Whoopsie doodles. So he was kicked off platforms. He was getting notorious. He was the most person searched on Google. They eventually got arrested in Romania. You get the gist with that. I'm really kind of here for the Trump stuff, okay? So there's more evidence, all right? There's more of this kind of stuff. I will decide if she's a slave, all this kind of stuff, all right? Said that committed the R word on her numerous times, forcing her into other things. He was in a text chat called Pimps. Tristan and two associates discussed how to punish a woman who didn't want to work for them anymore. Hit her if you have to. I don't care. Don't let her take things. It's a crime. All right. Romania is a hub for trafficking, and prosecutions include the Loverboy cases based on romance, psychological coercion, and threats. The indictment acknowledged against the Tates acknowledged two of the women cited as victims said they didn't see themselves that way, but the prosecutors showed them evidence that they were. So here it is where it gets damning. From Tucker to Barron. After his arrest, Mr. Tate hired Joseph D. McBride, a lawyer who had defended Trump supporters accused of insurrection at the Capitol. In short order, Mr. McBride pitched his brash new client to the conservative host Tucker Carlson. In some ways, it was an odd pairing. Mr. Carlson was a proud husband who promoted Christian family values, but he'd been ousted from Fox News after lawsuits exposed offensive language in his private messages to colleagues. He was building his own show on Twitter, and Mr. Tate, who had been reinstated on the platform by Elon Musk, had millions of followers there. In an interview with The Times, Mr. McBride recalled telling Mr. Carlson that if he flew to Romania for a sit-down with Andrew, I know we'll break the internet. Just abandon your morals and principles. Let's break the internet, okay, and the law. He was right. The 2023 interview at Mr. Tate's luxury home on the outskirts of Bucharest has drawn more than 112 million views. It's not a luxury home. It's a glorified porter cabin. His house fucking sucks. I'll just be real with you. It sucks. It's horrible. This Romania, it's like damn near it's like round an industrial estate. There's no other nice houses around it. It is a slum. All right. It's a fucking porter cabin webcam studio in a slum that looks horrendous. They spent much of the 2.5-hour conversation discussing their shared belief, what they saw as a left-wing war on masculinity. Mr. Carlson didn't press Mr. Tate on his porn operation or his previous comments about exploiting women. Mr. Carlson misrepresented the criminal allegations in Romania, saying they involved no crimes or violence or any actions that can be considered trafficking. That's not actually human trafficking, Mr. Carlson said of the charges. I don't care what you call it. You weren't buying, even accused of buying or selling anyone. That's not really what it's about, right? There's no proof Jeffrey Epstein bought or sold anyone, right? There's no solid proof. That was never proven in a court of law, but we know he's a trafficker because of what he did, because of the plane, because of flying people around, because of bringing people in from a different country, making them do stuff they didn't want to do. Asked recently about the interview, Mr. Carlson told The Times, if I misstated their indictment or got facts wrong, I sincerely apologize. See, all these people that supported him for the clout, they're not locked in forever. He added, it doesn't change my view the Tates, whatever their personal behavior, had a message worth hearing. Oh, okay, it's a message, but we're not, you know what I'm saying? We're not supporting it now. Like, now we got our clout and moved along. We're not interested. The interview helped burnish Mr. Tate's reputation. Charlie Kirk, and was a youth organizer and Trump advisor, was one of the people that tuned in. Now I see why he's popular, Mr. Kirk said on his podcast. While he expressed disgust over Tate's porno business, he agreed that masculinity was under siege. He's hitting on something that we're not allowed to say, where there's a lot of truth to it. All right. Candace Owens was sympathetic to Tate and did an interview with him in Romania. She told her audience it was a mistake to judge him for his past comments or the ostentatious content he posted. This is how guys have fun, she said, a bit trafficking. The same way that girls sit around and talk about Real Housewives. Absolute nonsense, right? It's crazy. So Tate was drawing parallels that he saw between himself and Mr. Trump, both booted from social media, both criminally prosecuted, both victims of political attacks. See, it's all well and good, all right? But at a certain point, Trump's like, I don't want to be associated with any of these horrific crimes. He's tired of it. He's tired of all this nonsense. He's tired of the Epstein files. He's tired of being dragged into these things. I'm not going to comment on anything to do with that for now in this video. But like, he don't want to be associated with no more traffickers. In September 2023, Trump shared on Truth Social, his social media platform, a video of Tristan defending him. Thank you, Mr. Trump wrote. Mr. McBride, the brothers' lawyer, pressed their case in meetings with members of Congress, according to an interview he gave to the Republican operative Roger Stone. Mr. McBride said both male and female lawmakers were outraged at the brothers' treatment. Don Jr. showed support too. You've got people attacking you as far as I'm concerned, he told Mr. Tate in a June 2024 conversation. Live streamed on X, the renamed Twitter platform. They just want to silence you, all right? So this guy does not want anything to do with Trump now, all right? His younger brother, Barron, was also a fan. That spring, as his father was going after young male voters on the campaign trail, the teenager hosted a dinner at Mar-a-Lago for influencers, and among them was Mr. Waller, who helped run the Tate's course and told the Times that he's widely seen as the third brother. Imagine being so lame and desperate you want to be the third brother. I'm like the third brother. I'm like the fifth Beatle. Oh, please. The conversation that light meandered, Mr. Wallace said, from calling each other degenerate names to discussing potential running mates for Mr. Trump, who also made an appearance and agreed to go on the podcast of another guest, Patrick David. Mr. Waller tried to play a big brother role for Barron. He said, visiting Mar-a-Lago and talking to him about dating, the president's youngest son is not a bad ally to have, let's be frank. He and Barron then spoke to Andrew over Zoom last year. Mr. Waller said that while the teenager was having a suit fitted by Mr. Waller's tailor, although they discussed the Romanian case, Barron didn't say anything about helping the Tates. Mr. Waller said that they also talked about supporting Mr. Trump's presidential campaign on their online platforms. That summer, when a young man tried to assassinate Mr. Trump, Mr. Tate told reporters he talked to Barron right after the shooting. I'm very close to the Trump family, Tate said. I look forward to, once I'm being free, being with Donald Trump in person and reminding him that he's a bulletproof badass. They're going to be together. That is crazy. Right? When Tate texted in January that the Trump admin was on top of things, he didn't name names, but several of his supporters ended up in the government. Paul Ingracia, who was initially named White House liaison to the Justice Department, has once been part of the Tate's legal team. Alina Harbour, a counselor to the president who would later serve a brief stint as New Jersey's top prosecutor, told Andrew on a podcast in January, "I got your back over here." And Mr. Grinnell, a special presidential envoy, privately discussed the Tate's case with Romanian officials, the Times found. At Mar-a-Lago last December, he met Victor Ponta, an advisor to Romania's prime minister. Mr. Ponta had traveled to Trump's Florida club to make inroads with the president-elect's inner circle, and he told the Times in an interview in Bucharest that his country was in a defensive crouch for its handling of the presidential election. Its highest court had tossed out the first round of votes, citing evidence that Russia had meddled on behalf of the winner, a far-right candidate, and Trump Jr. and Elon Musk, among other American conservatives, accused Romania of undermining democracy. So look, all right, Trump and his people, Andrew Tate and his people, there's definitely an overlap, okay? There's discussion of Andrew Tate. He discussed Tate's case. He said they'd spoke about it. He saw himself as releasing all the American hostages around the world. And it's just, this is really bad, okay? So look, I'm kind of more interested in the connection to Barron Trump and the Trump family, okay? I could break all of this down in kind of another video, all right? They made it to Florida. He basically have very detailed instructions from the Americans about crossing borders, phones, passport. I can't say more. This goes into instant effect. That's what he said when they got their big break. And the prosecutors basically said, you guys can travel. You can come to America. And the prime minister believed the Trump admin would be happy with the outcome. So it sounds like there was potentially a time when the Trumps and the presidential, you know, I don't know, cabinet, or at least people with power in the government were lobbying on behalf of Tate, is how it seems. In the early hours of February 27th, the brothers drove to the airport as documented in a video titled The Tate Escape. They beamed at each other as the plane took off for Florida. When asked that day whether the Trump admin had aided the Tate's release, their lawyer, Mr. McBride, told the Times, do the math. These guys are on the plane. Can we watch this? I don't know if we can watch this. From the moment they arrived on the soil, they had pushback. Their electronic devices were confiscated by Border Patrol and Homeland Security. Mr. Engricia, by then the White House liaison to Homeland Security, tried and failed to have their phones returned. That night in Miami, the brothers celebrated over cigars with Mr. Waller, but public backlash was mounting even among prominent conservatives. Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro denounced them. Some Republican leaders spoke out. Senators, I certainly don't think we should be using any influence in our government to get him out of what seemed to be extremely serious charges in Romania. Mr. DeSantis said the brothers were not welcome in Florida, and the state's attorney general announced a criminal investigation of them. It was serious, okay? Basically, Trump said he knew nothing about it, all right? And then they flew back, and then they suddenly got in a bunch of trouble. And this is crazy, okay? This is actually from the girl who apparently was assaulted in the US. In mid-March, the brothers flew back to Romania for a court appearance. One of Andrew's then-girlfriends, Brianna Stern, told the police in Beverly Hills he'd assaulted her before he left. On social media, she shared several of his text messages. Apparently said, I really love hitting you. It's very good for me and you. It's relaxing, don't you think? Says, Pookie, no, I cry. What on earth? Prosecutors declined to bring charges, citing insufficient evidence. Mr. Stern is suing Andrew, and he's countersued, claiming defamation. He and Tristan are suing another woman in Florida who's cited as a victim in the Romanian investigation. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. And then he's weighed in on politics. He's been calling for a civil war after Charlie Kirk got smoked. And he and his brother have flown in and out of Romania, Turkey, and the UAE, but not the United States until now. This is an old article. You know, he's still got a few people on his side. He's got Nick Fuentes on his side, but that don't really say much, right? So anyway, people have been saying that there is now going to be apparently a probe into Barron's ties. And basically it says Donald Trump's son Barron faces calls for probe over alleged links to arrested manosphere influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate. So Andrew Tate's made the block hot for Trump's son. Okay, and I don't think they're going to be feeling this. He's apparently being asked to testify in Congress over his alleged links, so that is actually being reported by the Daily Mail. Barron Trump, 20, has been called on by a House Democrat to testify to the House Oversight Committee about whether he knew about or had any involvement whatsoever in the crimes of Andrew Tate and the subsequent investigation. Now, it's a bit of a non-starter because he could play ignorant about their crimes, but like I'd like to know whether he had any say in suggesting that he kind of got his situation straightened out. So a Congresswoman, Yasmin Ansari, shared a letter she wrote to the chairman of the committee saying investigative reports detailed direct, extensive communications between Tate and Barron Trump, the president's son, as well as the Tate brothers' broader interactions with the high-profile political figures in the president's personal circle. The committee must investigate whether back-channel communications between the Tate brothers, presidential advisors, and members of the first family, such as Barron Trump, influenced official actions or administration policy regarding criminal prosecution and investigation of the brothers or international law enforcement cooperation. It's not looking too good. All right, it's not looking too good. All right, no disrespect. I ain't got anything. I definitely don't want to be caught saying anything bad about Barron Trump. All right, but okay, this is made the block hot, and I don't think he's going to want to associate with Tate after this. Okay, he's got bigger fish to fry. Him and his family got way bigger fish to fry than worrying about what Andrew Tate is doing. Okay. So they said that they're issuing, they wanted the committee to issue immediate subpoenas for the state records, White House and agency logs, and Barron Trump personally. So the committee must learn from Barron Trump about his knowledge of the Tate brothers' crimes and if he had any involvement whatsoever, and if he communicated with members of his father's administration or the president himself regarding their legal proceedings. Uh-oh, that is bad. Okay. So, yeah, apparently... Right, it says Barron walks, talks, and moves and thinks in a way that resembles his father, said Justin Waller. This is after he dined with him at Mar-a-Lago. So it's quite clear he's not confused about what's going on in the world, nor the rooms he finds himself in. Ugh, not helpful. You kind of telling on him a little bit. Said the pair were said to have struck up a close rapport when Waller became a big brother figure to the president's 6'9" son. Mentioning the height is crazy. Dispensing dating advice and introducing him to a tailor who made the suit for his father's second inauguration. It's interesting, right? It's very, very, very interesting. So he said during that fitting, we already heard this, that he spoke to Zoom, and they spoke again after the assassination attempt on Trump. Donald Trump Jr. and Andrew Tate appeared together in a live stream to promote a MAGA meme coin. He said, "You got people attacking you. As far as I'm concerned, they just want to silence you." Well, Press Secretary for the White House, Caroline Leavitt, said the Tate's extradition would not be blocked, suggesting the influencers would not be getting any help from the White House. They are radioactive, and the White House and anyone with the last name Trump or anyone associated with them at this point don't want to have anything to do with them. And when within the next 60 days these charges are all documented, it is going to be a bloodbath, all right? So it's crazy. It's actually crazy. So there's that, and there's now sort of like a follow-up article that apparently, okay, the Tates were actually planning to exploit Barron Trump and ties to their third brother, all right, and escape extradition over sickening new charges. So it apparently sounds like this is described as a delusional plot to exploit Barron Trump. So even if Barron Trump is denying being part of this, it sounds like there may well have been a plan, at least on the Tate side, to exploit him and basically use him as a pawn in their never-ending, lifelong game of chess. Excuse the pun, because I know they like to use chess metaphors and play chess. I mean, if you watch them playing Piers Morgan, I don't think Tate's that good at chess, but I'm not good at chess either, So this article, it says, Andrew and Tristan Tate were styling themselves as close confidants of Barron Trump and are banking on presidential support to fend off extradition on their charges. But a MAGA insider is now telling Daily Mail the Tate brothers are delusional if they think the first family are going to rush to their defense. This is really interesting, right? Because it sounds like it's possible that a lot of this reporting, maybe this original stuff, oh, I'm on the wrong page. Hang on. Maybe this kind of stuff was being pushed by Tate and, the third Tate brother, Justin Waller, to try and build up this aura that they were connected to Barron, basically to try and use him and finesse him into then giving public support. And I don't think it's going to work. But it's very, very interesting how this article, they're saying a MAGA insider is telling the Daily Mail they're delusional. The first family ain't coming to help them. It's not happening. Okay? It's crazy, right? A source close to Trump said there's no way the White House would risk intervening on behalf of alleged S-traffickers after the political firestorm over the Epstein files. It's delusional. I don't think there's any support for them at all. The Epstein thing just makes it even more objectionable. I don't see the Trump Justice Department doing anything other than what they've always done, which is to acquiescence in a request for extradition to the UK. Basically, the insider is saying, bro, there ain't no way, we're not helping. This is embarrassing. There's been enough of a stink about the Epstein files. That's a new picture. Look at his little bald round head. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it's not happening, right? It is not happening. Their lawyer said, we went to Congress to see our Congress people in D.C. Now we're getting arrested. This feels political. Well, you a minute ago, you're saying that you had all the politicians in your pocket. So it doesn't really add up. It doesn't really make sense, right? It's like, I don't really know. Just because you took a few pictures with politicians, this doesn't necessarily mean anything. But they were basically hoping that was going to help them, but it was too late. All right. So now basically they're saying that people inside MAGA have grown tired of their antics and are unnerved by the accusations surfacing in the UK. Said they've always wanted to be in the Trump orbit. I've heard they had some relationship with Don Jr., but I think it's extremely peripheral. Barron might like them. He might like their online persona, their swagger and all of that, but I just don't see him getting involved. Some people initially were favorable towards them, then turned on them with a vengeance. That gives you some reading of where they are in Trump world, which is to say nowhere. I don't know who their constituency is other than young guys with too much testosterone. So this is pretty damning, all right? It sounds like either Barron Trump is turning on them or he never really cared that much about them to begin with. Hopping on a Zoom call is different to actually lobbying to basically break a decades-long treaty. So I don't think this is going to work. I think they're going to try apps. They're going to throw anything in the kitchen sink at this situation to try and get out of it. But I don't think Barron Trump, Don Jr., the big man himself, Donald Trump, nobody wants anything to do with this mess, all right? The Epstein files was already just like a whole firestorm. You know what I'm saying? If they actually step in and stop Andrew Tate getting extradited to the UK and piss all over this treaty that's been in order for decades, we might just get some new UFO files. if they step in and let Andrew Tate get away with this and they don't extradite him, you can best believe them UFO files will come in the next week. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'll talk to you guys in some videos tomorrow. I hope you found that useful. I wanted to do a couple of Andrew Tate videos. I just did one about him allegedly having a body. If you didn't see that, go and check that one out. It's all alleged. It's all rumors. That is what it is for now. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.